This is Sugar Sweetness. She was trying to finish her English assignment on time when she reached for her energy drink. But because of her bad posture in an unsuitable chair, she hurt her lower back, causing her to fall. She is now asking for advice on how to prevent this from happening again. But before we get into that, let's discuss the basics of workplace safety. What is work? Work is tasks that require effort, which depends on the individual. What is a workplace? Workplace is all spaces where effort is made. What is ergonomics? Ergonomics is optimizing the function of an individual or group of individuals by adapting the environment in which the person must interact. This is fundamental to every occupational therapy practitioner. Let's explore common diagnosis, populations, and treatment settings to offer a little more insight about the workplace. Some injury-related facts about the U.S. are 4.7 million workers injury every year. The leading causes of injury in the workplace are falling, bending, reaching, and lifting. The most common work-related injury is inflammation, and the second most common are fractures. Workers also bring in cultural and societal influences that change how they deal with injury prevention and reporting injuries. They might not follow advice because they have been taught to work hard despite discomfort, so OT practitioners must adapt their plans so clients can still work, even though the clear thing to do is to minimize work. Now we'll discuss mechanisms of injury. Acute trauma can count as slips, trips, falls, machine accidents, and more. As occupational practitioners, OTPs use root cause analysis to dig deeper into the causes of accidents. OTPs think beyond the basic cause of injury, thinking about cultural factors, environmental factors, and more so they can educate clients and companies about visual cues and safety prevention methods to avoid injuries. Another part of injury would be repetitive strains, aka WRMSTs, which is work-related musculoskeletal disorders. OT practitioners should be aware that risk factors depend on relationships of the loads being applied, duration of exposure, and postural demands. Now, a really great way to make sure you don't overextend yourself or strain any muscles is the concept of the reach envelope. The reach envelope is how far someone can reach safely. In order to achieve this, we use a base of support to help our balance and stability. Stability will be lost as the person moves into a position where the body is no longer part of the base support. Therefore, we use the reach envelope to delineate which zones we can enter. Objects that you use constantly should be within your primary reach envelope, which means when the person puts elbows up against their ribs internally and externally rotates their shoulders. This is the safest reach envelope. Objects you use occasionally should be in the secondary zone, which means when the person reaches forward without bending the spine and horizontally abducts and adducts their shoulders. Objects you rarely use should be in the zone where the person should step on top of something in order to grab the object properly.
Object manipulation. Next, we're going to discuss how object manipulation relates to workplace safety. To further explain what object manipulation is, it involves looking into a person's ability to grip or manipulate the objects in their surroundings. Now, as OT practitioners, we must do a task analysis, which means we observe and evaluate how much the task requires of the body. Then, come up with solutions to limit the risk. When a person is in the workplace, it's important to make sure that they are capable of manipulating the tools used at work and that they are also using the tools as intended. Now that we talked about object manipulation and the proper use of tools in the workplace, it is also important to explore techniques dealing with pushing, pulling, lifting, and lowering objects. Body functions and performance skills. Body functions include neuromusculoskeletal and movement-related functions foremost, muscle functions, and movement functions. Performance skills includes motor skills, and process skills. Next up, we have injury prevention. The intervention technique used for injury prevention is education and training. The approach to intervention is prevent, which is to help prevent injury and re-injury while limiting barriers to occupational performance in context. This basically means that we need to educate and promote worksite safety for clients in order for people to carry out their occupations safely without increasing barriers to their occupational performance. This is an example of a client profile. Our client is a 20-year-old female living in the middle class. The client is able to purchase any needed equipment and lives at home with their family. Being able to comfortably spend an extended period of time on the computer is one of our client's main goals because work and school require it. Other goals our client mentioned are being able to handle daily tasks as well as her hobbies with decreased back pain. Some physical barriers our client is experiencing are the office equipment, in particular her seat, and her own knowledge of safe posture. Because our client values hard work, not being able to work at her peak performance as well as her falling grades has been contributing heavily to her stress. To add to her situation, she is an experienced employee who is relied upon at work for making deadlines and training newer employees. Not being able to do this weighs heavy on our client. Using safe posture techniques and a proper seat with a solid backing, Sugar Sweetness has limited her back pain and is now much happier at work and school. We can let that smile speak for itself.